Thanks for coming here to the Board of Commissioners meeting on this beautiful day here at 5:13. You know, the time is just getting away from us. It's going to be June here before we know it. So before we start Clermont County Commissioners meeting, we always have a local clergyman who volunteers to pray not only for the commission, but also for the citizens and the people of this county. So today, Gail, do we have a...
Yes, David Tennant.
We do. David Tennant is here. And so David comes and provides this service many, many times, and we are terribly grateful for him. The podium is yours. Could you lead us in prayer?
Just like church, front pews are always open. Let's pray. I'm reminded of a quote, one of my favorite quotes from Neil Postman, who was an author and an educator. Children are the living messages we send to a time we will not see. Children are the living messages we send to a time we will not see. So the intent of extending Mother's Day a little bit further into another day, thanking those mothers and those with mothering spirits for how they have instilled into their children, into their family, those decisions and those behaviors that will carry to a time they will not see. And so for the commissioners and for all of us in our work this day, keeping that in mind, that our decisions, that you would equip, particularly the commissioners in their duty this morning, and the decisions that they make, give them discernment, give them courage to make those decisions, your decisions, that will carry into a time that they will not see. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And the next thing up is the Pledge of Allegiance. And so I usually try to pick either one of our commissioners or somebody out of the crowd. Andrew Gephardt is here today. He is the administrator of Williamsburg. Would you lead us in the pledge?
Be glad to, Commissioner.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Andrew. I'll call this meeting this morning at 10 a.m. to order, and we will move into agenda business right off the bat. Our first order of business is the approval of regular session minutes for May the 8th, 2024. Board, I know you've had these minutes early, had the opportunity to review them. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve. Second.
It's been moved and second. Any further conversation, revision? Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes, we had an item C on the agenda, and it was for, we actually had an item D, a certificate of recognition that's not going to happen this morning. The person that obviously is due that award is not here with us today, so we're going to have to do that on another date. But we do have a proclamation designating May 2024 as Building Safety Month in Clermont County. And Bruce Kreitz, I understand you were going to accept this proclamation.
Bruce.
Thanks for being here. Thank you. You bet. Proclamation, Building Safety Month in Clermont County, May 2024. Whereas Clermont County is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on safety as an essential role for our homes, buildings, infrastructure, both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians of building safety and fire prevention, building officials, architects, engineers, and construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas modern building codes include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as snowstorms, tornadoes, wildfires, floods, earthquakes, and whereas these guardians are dedicated public servants who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality of work to protect us in buildings where we live, learn, work, play, and obviously raise our families. Whereas this proclamation of Clermont County Building Safety Month 2024 is themed Mission Possible, as it encourages all to raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. Whereas each year in the observance of Building Safety Month, Americans are asked to consider their commitment to improve building safety and economic investment at home and in their community, and to acknowledge the essential services provided to all of us by local building and fire prevention departments in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, it's hereby proclaimed that May 2024 is Building Safety Month in Clermont County. Accordingly, our citizens are encouraged to join their communities across America to recognize Building Safety Month. And it's signed by myself, Claire Corcoran, Vice President, and Bonnie Batchelor, member today as your three commissioners. Bruce, on behalf of the Clermont County Commissioners, thanks for your dedication. Thanks for your dedicated staff and everything that you do here in Clermont County to make sure that building safety is the best it can be. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. And the podium is yours.
Thank you, Commissioners. I would like to thank all the commissioners for receipt of this proclamation and your years of dedicated service to public safety and providing the resources that we need to run our building division, including training and competitive wages. It is good to recognize our permit specialists, plans examiners, and building inspectors, and to bring public awareness of the work that goes on behind the scenes to guarantee public building safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you really know my name. Let me take a picture with you. The commissioners want to come on down. You can hold that.
Okay.
That'll make a great, piece for your picture.
All right.
Appreciate that. You bet. Appreciate you.
We have that like we like each other. Excuse me, she's taking. Sorry.
All right, more of that, look here, and smile, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. I just not take it anymore.
That's right.
You've been locked off.
Can't take you anywhere.
We can live with that.
Good.
And I would just say before we move on that, being a building inspector or being any type of government representative where you have to go and ensure that people comply with codes and standards is always a tough thing to do. We appreciate all of them that take that task on. We know that when they have to hold someone up with a construction project or because somebody isn't following those codes or standards or following the drawings, we know that's a difficult thing to do. I would say that Clermont County commissioners get a lot of phone calls. That's one of the usual phone calls, is that we're being held up, and Bruce is gracious when we make those telephone calls on behalf of residents, because usually we're like, Bruce, what are you doing? And then he has to, bring us down to the situation and explain to us why, they do what they do. So we appreciate all of you. We will move on with the regular agenda. I want to move item number J up, which is county staff and elected official discussion. I understand Lyle Blom is here today to talk about a waterline easement. Lyle, the podium is yours, and we are going to consult with attorneys here on Zoom. Brian, good to see you.
Good morning. Okay, so I distributed kind of a summary to the commissioners last week. Hopefully you got that. What we have is a situation where there was a retaining wall that was built within a public water main easement and over top of an existing water main. And the situation is at the new TQL facility, the addition that they did, and on the side over by the parking lot area. So I included some photos of the retaining wall, kind of a background on it. We recorded an easement across the property in February 2003. That's a 30-foot permanent easement. And in 2004, we installed a 16-inch water main through the easement and then bored under I-275. So where the retaining wall was built was in the limits of that easement where we bored under I-275. The engineer and architect for the TQL project did submit plans for the improvements there. They also submitted drawings for the retaining wall itself. The retaining wall drawings did not show the water line or the easement. The original plans showed the easement and water line, but didn't clearly show that there was a retaining wall being built over those. So all those drawings were approved. And then I noticed, actually it was in October of last year, looking at our new aerial photography, that it looked like there was a foundation being constructed over a water main. So I kind of dug into that, talked to the building department. And at that time, by the time I realized that the retaining wall was completed and built, the parking lot was in. So we've had some communication with representatives for TQL and have a couple different options, what they'd prefer. And I think what we would recommend, or what I'm recommending, is that we have a separate agreement with the property owner that would be memorialized, be recorded, where they could allow the retaining wall to remain. But if the Water Resource Department ever needed to utilize that easement to repair, replace, do any maintenance on that water main, we'd tear out the retaining wall, we'd tear out any pavement, we'd fix the water line, replace it, do whatever we needed to do, and then that would be up to the property owner to make any repair to that retaining wall. We wouldn't be financially responsible in the future for any damage to that retaining wall. Other options would be just to reject that entirely, make them remove the retaining wall, remove the pavement, and redesign and resubmit drawings for the improvements. And the third, which I wouldn't recommend at this point, is to do nothing. And then someday in the future, we're going to have to get in there and we'll deal with that problem when the time arises. So right now, I guess I'm asking for guidance from the board or approval to move forward with developing an agreement with TQL representatives that we'd bring back to the board for formal approval and then to record that.
Okay. And just a question on that, the water line that we have installed, the water line material makeup is,
Class 52 ductile iron,
okay, and ductile iron is good for how many years? Left undisturbed?
about 80 years typically.
Okay.
We won't be here.
But there
Okay.
may always be a leak. I did look at, because they added some fill over the water main, and of course they've got the retaining wall, and I looked at the loadings on the water main based on design considerations for ductile iron pipe. It's still safe. It's at no immediate risk of failure.
That was going to be my question. So the weight of that retaining wall in the parking lot will not endanger that water line? Okay.
Okay. Anything from,
Just briefly, thank you. I did speak with Lyle. I spoke with Tom last week. We've had continuing discussions. I did offer a few revisions to an initial letter that TQL representatives had sent over to the county. Just to be clear, the county would be responsible for making those repairs and then fixing whatever was related to that. And then TQL would be responsible for the cost of re-implementing or rebuilding that retaining wall. I did go over all three options with Lyle. His recommendation makes sense to me. This is potentially a hypothetical situation in which nothing ever happens. If that's the case, great. But it's one of those things that now that we know about it, my advice to Lyle was, we need to do something to ensure that if there's a problem, we know about it and it's already taken care of.
okay. And so you're looking for guidance from the board?
Yeah, approval to move forward with our option one, which is to enter into a separate agreement. We'll get that drafted with TQL and then bring it back to the board for approval.
We just need, Thomas, we just need a yay on that path forward, or do we
I
need
just made a motion to direct Lyle to prepare the agreement.
So I'll bring a motion forward that we direct Lyle to prepare that agreement, protect Clermont County's resources and their water line and whatever future endeavors we need to do. I think TQI is a good partner, great business that we have located here in Clermont County, but things do change. Businesses do sell, board of directors change. So it's a good thing that you noticed it and that, it's going to be protected. So that'd be the motion I'd make. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lyle.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you guys. Have a great week.
You too. We'll move back to presentations. I understand our next presentation is from Jeff Blom, Director of Clermont County Convention and Visitors Bureau, a committee update on America 250.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Thank you for the opportunity for our America 250 Clermont County to gather this morning and attend the Commissioners meeting. Judy, if you'd like to come up. Judy Adams is our co-chair. We'll see how well I can talk and advance slides. We'll see how well I can multitask. I only prepared a 187 slide deck this morning.
Fine.
Are we good?
We're good.
You cut
All right.
188
We're
out.
good. I understand you were having lunch catered in also.
Exactly. All right. Well, we are very excited about this project. Claire approached us several months ago. I want to say in November last year, about working on a project that would enhance Clermont County and celebrate our 250 years of history here in Clermont County. So Judy was kind enough to partake as far as being a co-chair, and just a few introductions here. But we're excited about what we've worked on over the past several months. Judy Adams with Belleville Historical Society and Museum is our co-chair. I'm the other co-chair with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We do have a bookkeeper for this project, and that's Lynn Weaver with Brixey and Meyer Accounting, and that's our accounting firm for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Our subcommittee chairs are Andrea Brady with the Milford Miami Township Chamber of Commerce. Unfortunately, she had another meeting this morning and could not attend. Liz Betemps, am I saying that right? With Williamsburg Harmony Hill Association. And then we also have Leslie Jacobs with Clermont County Public Library. And in each of them has a subcommittee role. Andrea Brady with community events, which we'll be working on down the road. Liz with the historical societies and museums, which they are working on some things which we'll share at a future meeting. And then Leslie with educational and public library programming, that they're working on some programming for 2026 as well. One of our history consultants will be Gary Knepp, and he's a retired attorney and author of several Clermont County history books and articles, and we'll be working with our universities as far as their history departments just to ensure some of the historical elements and our art murals are factually correct and interpreted properly. So we're excited. And then we'll be hiring a lot of local mural artists to handle creating, designing, and then executing as far as painting all these public murals over the next several months. So we're excited to get this project started, and we hope that you will support us in our endeavor. So Judy, would you like to come up and talk about our communities? I'll switch spots. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to stand over here. How about that?
As long as you click me through it, I could talk.
Okay.
So we have 7 communities that are participating in the mural project: Bethel, Loveland, Miami Township, Milford, New Richmond, Union Township, and Williamsburg. And the America 250 in Clermont County aims to fund these 7 historic public murals that will capture pivotal monuments and figures in the region's history over the past 250 years. These murals will depict narratives such as the Grassy Run conflict, the pioneering spirit of Major General William Lyle, the early settlement of Clermont County, the growth of agriculture, the birthplace of Ulysses S. Grant and his story, developing into one of America's greatest leaders as general and president, the evolution of railroad and river transportation, and the heroic legacy of police and firefighters. Through vibrant visual storytelling, these murals will celebrate Clermont County's rich heritage, educate visitors and local community, and inspire pride in the culture legacy for generations to come. So, okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, so some of the goals for this project. So this historical art mural trail will tell Clermont County's stories of our Ohioans, past and present, as well as significant historical events. The art murals will be developed into an America 250 historical public art mural trail. So we will connect and have connectivity amongst all of our communities. And then this project will also increase the quality of life in Clermont County with the vibrancy of the artwork that displays our chapter of American and Ohio history. Public art murals in Clermont County have been one of the goals of the Clermont County Agenda for the Future, 2012 Lead Clermont and Clermont County Chamber Strategic Plan. And here to talk about that particular goal and their support for this project is Bob Pauke with Lead Clermont.
Thanks, Jeff. Good morning, commissioners.
Morning.
So as Jeff said, back in 2012, a collection of Lead Clermont and other organizations held Agenda for the Future, where we brought together hundreds of residents across the county, basically asked two questions. What do you like best about this county where we live, work, and play? And what would your aspirations be for our county in the next 5 to 10 years? That information was synthesized by the Community Building Institute, which at the time sat in Xavier University. We had hired them to shepherd this project along. 23 goals came out of that, where residents said, these are the goals that we have, that were collated together under 7 themes. And so one of those was a branding exercise, which we had taken, we contracted with a branding organization. And they came back and uncovered through a series of focus groups and surveys, and all things that we residents like about our county and the brand. And some of those assets are intertwined. And so we think this mural project really is an intertwining. It's a way of holding the glue together for of our county. Agenda for the Future also identified where residents said, like, we really want to recognize our historical assets, our historical and local assets. And this is a way of representing those assets from the past, but representing it also as we go forward. At the end of that Agenda for the Future, there was no single organization that made sense to carry it forward. So we created Connect Clermont. It's an IRS approved 501c3. And since that time, we helped fund the branding project that I just mentioned briefly. We've also been able to give away about $383,000 to nonprofit projects since 2019. We endorse this idea of this mural project. We think this is very good for the entire county. Supports the things that came out of both Agenda for the Future and the branding project. And Connect Clermont has contributed $25,000 in the hopes that other contributors would, including yourselves. And by the way, I should have mentioned, I am the CEO and president of Connect Clermont, and for 2 more days, I'm the executive director of Lead Clermont after 14 wonderful years. There's no questions.
Thanks,
Not yet.
You can have Jeff back.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bob, very much. The timeline for this project, March 15th is already come and passed. We did apply for a Buckeye Impact Grant of $50,000 from the America 250 Ohio Committee. So we will learn here in a couple days whether we receive that $50,000. So we're very optimistic, and we hope to hear some really good news out of Columbus. And so May 15th is that day. Starting May 16th, then we'll move forward with formal agreements and invoices submitted to the Clermont County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Connect Clermont, and Clermont County. So ideally, we'd like to get some funding from the county as well for this particular project. Once we have what I would say is a substantial amount of money, the artists do require deposits for their work, and able to hire some of the artists that will paint these murals along with themselves, buy their supplies, and rent equipment such as scaffolding and ladders and whatnot that goes into creating and painting these murals. That will happen next. So between the end of May and the end of June, we'll finalize contracts and deposits with all the local artists and the building owners. And so we'll work on some legalese surrounding the buildings themselves to make sure that some of them are public buildings, some of them are private. But regardless, if the building is sold, then there will be an easement, some legalese written into that agreement that should a building be sold, then that mural would stay and not be painted over. So we'll make sure that those murals are protected, which is a very important piece of this. And the lifespan is roughly 25 years, and then they would have to be touched up. But we're excited that they will have a long shelf life. May 31st, 2025 is when we anticipate all the art murals to be completed for America 250 Clermont County. So just like any other business, artists have clients, and some clients are on their project calendars already. So some of these art murals would be painted this year during the summer and fall. And we know there'll probably be a couple more that will be painted in the spring of 2025, with all artwork being completed by the end of May. And we're excited to get that process started. So it's a lot of work and a lot of planning has gone into this project thus far. Moving forward, I'll introduce a couple people. We'll have members of each community just kind of come up and talk about their particular project, their particular mural, and how their community is excited and how they are supporting that. So from Bethel, we have Don Paul and Judy Adams. And you see a description up here of what their mural is like. So if you want to just come up and just say a couple words. Dawn has been preparing for weeks for this moment.
So Dawn owns the Ben Franklin building in Bethel, and it's right at a prominent crossing, corner of Plain and Main, you know, and it has this big, nice wall where she can have a beautiful mural. Why don't you tell them a little bit about it?
I'm Dawn. I'm the previous new owner of Ben Franklin, but I'm a Bethel native. Been there my entire life. That's the number one question I get. So do I have ties and want this to be great? Absolutely. But like, I think my location for the community is like ideal. I don't know if y'all know where Ben Franklin's at. It's right there. Yeah. So like, I'm excited. Like I want to tie in stuff like the firefighter. Like my son is a firefighter. So like, it's not just for the community. Like I'm getting something back from it too. So that was my whole goal. I wanted to intertwine both things. So, because everybody comes in the store and is like, you should have a mural on that wall. I'm like, I know, I'm working on it. Just be patient. So like, that's why I think the community will be a positive note. You know, we've had a few negative notes in the news about Bethel, but I think this will be a great positive thing for the community. So, that's all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so you see that theirs will be a combination of different elements: the 1776 flag, the current American flag, Obel Denham, the founder of Bethel, Steve Newman. I'm sure most people are aware of Steve Newman as the World Walker, Ulysses S. Grant, firefighters, and then Ben Franklin, obviously on the Ben Franklin store. So Bethel has put together a nice montage of different elements, and that to celebrate America's 250. So up next we have Loveland. We have Misty Clark and Krista Rose. So if you want to come up and just talk a little bit about your respective mural. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Misty Clark. This is Krista Rose. We're excited to be part of this program. Not only are we celebrating America's 250th anniversary in 2026, we're also celebrating Loveland's 150th anniversary that year. So we've already begun planning for that before we were invited to attend this program, which I think is a perfect combination of the two. Our mural would be located along the Little Miami River, right as you cross over the bridge from Hamilton County into Clermont County. So I think it's a great starting point for the program and the tour. Our mural will hit on probably the transportation aspects. We used to be a pretty big railroad town, and that was converted into a bike trail that's really the Little Miami Bike Trail, but everyone calls it the Loveland Bike Trail. It's a great stopping point and a great place in our community that attracts a lot of visitors. So we'll also hit on that, as well as the scenic Miami River as well. Our city is committed to add additional funds to this if necessary to make it really something we're proud of. And the property is privately owned, and the owner is excited to be part of this program and has given us permission to use the building already. Am I leaving anything out?
No, I just think it should be noted that in Loveland, we do have some public art displays already. We have several murals. We have traffic boxes that have been painted. They're very well loved by the community. So we feel like this mural will be well loved and well received too.
Which building?
It's owned by John Adams. It's called the Bank Building, but there's a cupcake shop in there and lemons and limes.
Okay.
So it'll be right as you come across the bridge.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next up, Andrea Brady and Kate could not be here this morning. I know Kate was feeling a little under the weather. So I'll go over Miami Townships and Milford. Miami Township itself was one of the first 5 townships formed in Clermont County. So it was originally called Abandoned Township in 1796. Miami Township was also rich in development of different industries such as mills, distilleries, cooperage, a blacksmith shop, tomato canning, and also had, this is one of those things that I had no idea that you learn as you go through doing different projects, one of the largest peach orchards in the U.S. So we're Georgia North, apparently. So
Love it.
So that is the first one. And then the second one is Milford. And I do know the location of the Milford mural. If you know where Harvest Market is, there's a parking lot there. There's a beautiful wall that is behind that parking lot. And that's what they're looking at as far as painting this mural on. Kate Albert is a local Milford artist. I think she's pretty well known throughout the city. I just had a little sample of her artwork on here, but she is a wonderful artist and excited to work with Milford and Miami Township on their respective murals. Milford, which was founded in 1806, will highlight the original mill on the Little Miami River, and the also early river and railroad transportation, an abolitionist founding, their Civil War connection with nearby Camp Dennison, and the Clermont home of Governor Pattison. So we're excited to work with Milford and Miami Township, along with Kate Albert and Andrea Brady. And here to talk about New Richmond is Greg Roberts.
Thank you, Bob.
We told Greg like 5 minutes.
We're taking him down to 2, because he'll go over. Go ahead, Greg.
Greg, you do not have to take that. I just wanted to let
Yeah,
you
he does.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that. As a fellow class
Okay,
of
it's on you.
76, our country's bicentennial. Can you believe it's going to be 50 years?
can't hardly believe it.
I can't either. But I'm here to talk a little bit about the New Richmond mural. But before I do so, I'd like to thank the commissioners for their support recently for the Liberty Landing project in New Richmond that saw something we rarely see in this part of Ohio. That is what I call green love from Columbus. And so the New Richmond mural, I'm glad they put the mural from Georgetown of President Grant. Well, prior to the America 250 project, I am currently vice president with Historic New Richmond. Been involved with Historic New Richmond since I got out of high school, and been involved with the Grant birthplace since 1991, when our organization took over and entered into a management agreement with the Ohio History Connection, as they're known today. Ohio History Connection completely funded that mural you're looking at now up there outside of Georgetown. They have strong interest at the event where they dedicated that and doing something similar in Clermont County. And they were looking for the appropriate place to put it, and we found it. It's on the side of a building on Front Street in New Richmond, currently owned by Scott Henderson with New Richmond Auto Sales. It's already a nice blank canvas. The artist who did that mural and did the bicentennial barns for Ohio's bicentennial, Mr. Hagan did those. I've met Mr. Hagan at an event up in Columbus at the fairgrounds. He painted similar murals in the art building there as part of the Grant's Bicentennial. And he's the perfect guy to do this. And so we will not only celebrate Grant and his legacy as being from probably the greatest Clermont County that ever walked, maybe even the greatest American that walked the face of this planet. And again, he's not been shown the love and respect that he deserves. And it's high time that the county did so. And I appreciate, again, what's been done already, and moreover, what's going to be done here in the future. And so we're not only going to honor Grant, location. That mural is going to be right across the street from the abolitionist doctor, Dr. John Rogers, that assisted in the birth. Now, being Mother's Day, Hannah had a little bit to do with that event. But again, us white guys, we really got to crow a lot because of really what other people do. And so I'm excited about this. It's really a nice, again, it's serendipitous that things are all coming together at this point in time. And so, and it's also serendipitous that I've got all these wonderful folks from other communities who are working together to make this project happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is Union Township and Mark McCormick. Talk a little bit about it. Thanks, Mark.
Morning.
Morning.
So I'm here to talk about the proposed mural in Union Township, which would be on the southwest corner of Klepper Lane, where Eastgate South turns into Klepper Lane and Eastgate Square. This would be on the side of RJ Cinema's building, where we have quite a few different community activities, including our lead meetings. And we actually kind of found out about this grant kind of last minute. So within about a day, I was able to get the owners of the property, Jungle Gym, on board. The township and Jungle Gym are both willing to commit significant resources to this project. And when approached about the subject of the mural, of course, Jungle Gym's had an interest in telling the story about the agriculture, growth of agriculture and food sources in the community, reference to the Amish in the area, Ohio farms. This all kind of goes in a line along with some of the pedestrian and beautification improvements the township is working on in that area, and also working on putting together a door for that area. So this would be kind of in the heart of that particular district that we're kind of working on right now. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. All right. Last but not least, Liz Betemps with Williamsburg.
And Andrew Gephardt.
And Mayor Weaver.
And me. We've got everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm representing the Williamsburg Harmony Hill board this morning. They're in a board meeting. So I'm really 10 people here. Andrew Gephardt, who is our administrator for Williamsburg, and Mayor Weaver, the mayor of Williamsburg. Our mural will capture the significance of Grassy Run with the Native Americans. Major General William Lyle, who's right behind Bonnie Batchelor there. He's our hero. He surveyed the land that became Clermont County for the American Revolutionary Soldiers and the Virginia Military District. And we're going to talk in our mural about the growth of the frontier and the growth of the village itself. Each of the murals, there are going to be 5 of them on one wall. The building we've selected is the Clermont Sun building right on Main Street in the heart of Williamsburg. The building is structured so that there are 5 different canvases, if you will, and each will represent a different time frame in the history of Williamsburg. I'd like to thank Andrew Gephardt for his help, as well as Mayor Weaver. We presented this to the council on Thursday, and they were also able to grant support for America 250 and for this project. Thank you.
Just want to add real quick, we've been fortunate in Williamsburg the last couple of years to add about 8 new businesses on Main Street. So this mural is going to kind of complement the new kind of businesses and folks walking around in our Main Street area. So we're really excited about the whole kind of coming together of our downtown Williamsburg. So Mayor, if you have anything.
And also with the mural there to kind of highlight some of the history of our community. We're the oldest village in Clermont County. So to highlight that and get that on people's minds. And even more than that is, there's so many visitors coming to the lake and they're coming into town. So all of these visitors from all over the United States are coming into town to have that history right in front of them. It's going to be nice, not only for Williamsburg, but for all of our communities when visitors come in. So, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. In addition to the art murals and the creativity and that true collaboration amongst all the communities, we will also have an educational component to this. And, that will be developed by Clermont County Educational Services and our Clermont County Public Library. So historical elements that are featured in all of these murals will also be shared with students as well as adults with that unique history that is behind them. So we're excited that, this is going to be so much more inclusive of all of our residents in different ages from, you're looking at 3rd, 4th grade students all the way through adulthood. So we're excited to have different programming that everybody can take part in and learn a little bit more about Clermont County history. Students and their families will be encouraged to explore the historical art mural trail and learn about the rich history. So again, we do a nice job in our schools of educating about U.S. history, a little bit about Ohio history, but there's probably not a lot about Clermont County history. So this is a way to really kind of add that chapter to our students' curriculums, as well as have adults, moms and dads and caretakers and adults just want to learn a little bit more about Clermont County history. So we're excited about that. Marketing, and this is my specialty. We will have a whole dedicated marketing budget to support America 250 Clermont County, the historical art mural trail. We've already created several different free downloadable mobile apps. Land of Grant Trail is one example. Our Clermont Freedom Trail with the National Underground Railroad Freedom Trail sites is another. We've also had some fun ones too, like Discover Clermont Savings Pass. But we will look to make this a downloadable mobile app, and we'll have all of those historical art murals on that and a trail showing that connectivity and a little bit of background information, a little bit of history about each community that visitors will be able to learn about. But also students can use that in their curriculums. It's a free download. I think everybody gets a cell phone at age 7 now. So they can use that in their curriculums, whether they physically go out and experience the trail, or maybe they just take a class session and walk through the trail on their phones, and then maybe the kids can go out with their parents on a weekend and go explore. So you can do it a number of different ways. There'll be a presence for this historical art mural trail on discoverclermont.com, our website. We also develop a print as well as digital brochure to invite visitors from Ohio and surrounding states to discover our rich history and celebrate our country's 250th birthday. We will also be doing print ads and select travel publications such as like Ohio Magazine, Long Weekends, AAA, all of those. Digital ads geo-targeted in areas of the Midwest, including Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana. Obviously the majority of our visitors come from that tri-state region, and then we do get visitors from surrounding states outside of that. We will also support this via email. And currently our subscriber list is over 12,000 subscribers. Hopefully we'll get a couple thousand more before 2026, but we'll be promoting this again as each one launches. There'll also be a social media campaign on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So it'll be provided, really promoted through a variety of short form video and then long form video, where we might be able to do some interviews with artists to talk about their mural, as far as historical perspective, invite some different leaders in to talk about the history of their respective community and be able to really enhance that experience, whether they're a visitor or a resident. All right. Speaking of events, what this whole project and this whole collaboration does is allows for several events leading up to 2026. So as each mural is completed, we'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony and a kickoff event for each historic public art mural. And that will be attended by elected officials. We'll certainly invite community leaders, local community and business leaders, schools will certainly be invited. So I would say look for some bands to help us kick off from the local high schools. Chambers and our CVB will take part in promoting and doing a ribbon cutting and celebrating each mural completion. So I think that will be a lot of fun. And obviously with 7 murals, we'll have a series of 7 kickoff events. And leading up to 2026 and the next project after we get this one started, we'll be looking at creating an overall marquee event for Clermont County for America 250. Okay. Here's what we've all been waiting for. Let's talk numbers, right? The budget. I will say I was naive to how much a public art mural would cost to create and paint. I think when we first started talking about this, we're like, well, it's probably going to be maybe 10,000 mural. Well, we had estimates that range from 10,000 to well over 100,000. But on average, our murals will average somewhere between $25,000 to $30,000 a mural. So overall, and you do have a copy of the budget in the packets that I gave to Claire, and hopefully each have one of those. But we're looking at about 181, 182,000 is what's estimated. We will probably have some legal fees for the attorneys to write up agreements for those, for those art murals as well. So there'll be a little bit of that in there. And then development of some of the marketing components. And in addition to that, which isn't listed, the CVB is going to go above and beyond to include in our marketing plans for 25 and 26, obviously a lot of America 250 marketing. So the overall budget, what we submitted to Columbus and America 250 Ohio is an overall budget of $200,000. $50,000, which we hope to learn this week, the Ohio Impact, the Buckeye Impact Grant, $50,000. Connect Clermont and Bob Palkey and the board of directors graciously committed $25,000. Our Clermont County Convention and Visitors Bureau board committed $25,000 to go towards this. And then as far as all the community contributions from the different villages, cities, and townships, we are at $25,000 that's been committed so far from all the communities. So we've come up with, hopefully, after we learn this week about the impact grant, $125,000 in funding. So we are super excited about that dollar amount. And the original ask, we were looking at asking the county for $100,000. We have whittled that down to $75,000, which we know is significant. But with a lifespan of 25 years, you're looking at roughly $11,000+ per community. But if you break that down over 25 years, you're looking at a few $100s going back to each community every year for the next 25 years. So in essence, I use those amortized, accounting terms that for a few $100s for each community, we think this has such a significant impact on that vibrancy and quality of life for residents, a celebration of our history, the excitement that, again, these public art murals, and you see that, and there's been several articles written about all the public artwork in downtown Cincinnati and over the Rhine. We're excited that this is a goal that's been out there for Agenda of the Future since 2012. So here it is, 12 years later, and we're finally, getting to that point where hopefully in the next year, we can check that goal off of Clermont County's list of goals. And so we're excited to really collaborate. And this has truly been a team effort. And there's been lots of information, lots of phone calls and emails going back and forth with artists and business and community leaders, and going back between Judy and I and everybody. So it's been a fun project to work on. We know this is an important project. to celebrate our 250 years, to celebrate Clermont County and our part of Ohio and our part as far as in the United States history. So our ask today is for $75,000 to complete this amazing public art mural project to celebrate America 250. So that's our ask of the commissioners today. And with that, any questions that you have for myself or Judy or the rest of our contingent here?
There probably is a discussion that needs to be taken a look at. One of the things is when it comes to 501c3s, when it comes to the Clermont County Board of Commissioners, by statute in the state of Ohio, the Clermont County Commission is not allowed to defer costs that were gained by taxation to non-for-profit agencies, unless that non-for-profit agency is stood up by proper Ohio statute. So I'll just give you, for instance, there are agencies that are listed within the statute in the state of Ohio that are non-for-profit, that are specifically identified for the collection of funds that comes in through the general funds of a commission like this. And you are allowed to contribute. One of those that you see contributed to every year is domestic violence. Domestic violence is funded through marriage license and divorce decrees and those kind of things. And by statute, the statute says if they ask for that money and fill out the proper paperwork, then the commission shall grant that money. So one of the things I would ask Tom is that, this specifically needs to be asked of the attorneys representing the board if the 250 program, and may well have been established by statute, and they may have already taken a look at this. But what I would make sure that you do is, by all means, take a look at that, because that may limit the sources of funds that you can actually use. I know just recently, the County Commissioners Association of Ohio has had many inquiries about that exact thing, because we all think that, if you from this dais make a resolution and say, we'll fund this program or that program, but that's one of the specific limitations. So, if I remember, I think that the Ohio 250 program was stood up by special legislation through the governor's office. And if that's the case, then, this commission would obviously consider that. Okay. But I just want to make sure that you're absolutely aware of that. So thank you.
You know how I am. I'm just going to keep asking you questions. Number one, what about the Clermont County Chamber? Are they involved?
They are not with this particular project.
Are we going to include them?
We will ask. They've been asked to participate in a number of different projects. So we have not asked them for this particular one.
Okay. What if you don't get the 50,000?
We are going to work collaboratively to try to get as much funding as we can to make this project happen.
Okay. And are you going to do presentations to each one of the townships in the county, asking them to pitch in and help out?
Well, most of them are as of now. I am doing a presentation to Miami Township tonight.
I'm talking about the other ones that are not listed on the 7 here. Are we asking everybody to participate?
Yes, we have made that ask of all the villages and townships participate.
Great. And have we advertised, for transparency's sake, any artists to everyone who wanted to join in on this?
No, we have left it to the communities to reach out and find their selected artist.
My suggestion would be that even though they may not be the main artist, perhaps they'd like to help, even if it's a volunteer. And I always go back to involving the schools and the local artists to help out who are teaching in our schools and have the children get involved. I think that gives a buy-in to parents wanting to go out on a Saturday afternoon and go see what their child helped participate in, especially in the summer when we get rolling on these projects and they want to do something with their kids other than have them drive them crazy. It maybe even helping do anything, clean up, paint brushes, whatever. And then is there going to be something in your easement? What about if those buildings get torn down? That's always been my big concern. The future of each one of these buildings. I know that's a long shot, but
Well, as far as the legalese, we will work with, a local attorney as far as putting those agreements in place. So the goal there is if a building is sold, then that mural they would be legally bound to keep that mural in place and not paint over it.
okay. Thank you. A lot of work's gone into this. Appreciate everyone's work. Do we want to, Tom, do you want to look?
I'll have to look at the funding options.
All right, and let us
Yeah.
know. So.
And let
we
us
get
know.
Back with you?
And there are other funding options that don't apply to those statutes, like for instance, ARPA funds and those kind of things. So those are outside because they were established per statute.
But then you got to use it within.
That's
Got to
correct.
be taken care of within.
Right.
time
Those kind
frame,
of funds
so-
you have to use, 26 is the cutoff date for that. So.
So maybe buy supplies or
Our
something.
goal is to complete this
Great.
before June 1st of 2025.
Okay.
I love the concept of going all over the county and looking at different areas and seeing. We were just down in Portsmouth, and they have.
Yeah.
Oh, were those murals beautiful? I mean, it made you stop and think, which is the goal here. Right. Thank you, everyone. Great work.
It is.
Great work. A lot of work.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for your time this morning, Commissioner.
You bet. Thanks for being here today. I think anyone that watched this by Zoom learned something about what was going on in Clermont County. That's always a great thing.
Thank you.
Thanks for your commitment and thanks for being part of the program. With that, we will move to item number E is public participation. Is there anyone here today from the public that would like to participate?
We're losing it.
Yeah, we are. Seeing none, I'd close public participation. I'll move to item F, the consent agenda. Board consent agenda has been prepared. You have had it early, had an opportunity to review it. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? I would move that we remove item number 5. We'll handle that separately. Any other items?
No other.
Then without item number 5, we will move on and move to the consent
We have
agenda.
to make a motion to approve.
Oh, the consent agenda because we pulled an item from it? Okay. So a motion?
I'll make the motion for you.
So move.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second that we modify the consent agenda and remove item number 5. Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. We'll go on. Then I'd ask a motion to approve the consent agenda as it has been modified, correct?
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Been moved. Second. Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Okay, we'll move to item G, the non-consent agenda, and we will handle item number 5 from the consent first. Are you going to do that one, Gail?
Me?
Mhm.
Yes, I guess so.
No problem.
This is a recommendation to authorize David L. Painter, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute the data sharing and confidentiality agreement between the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services and representatives of local Area 12, including Butler, Clermont, and Warren boards of county commissioners, who are chief elected officials of local Area 12, and the Workforce Investment Board of Butler, Warren, and Clermont counties, for the provision of wage record information and unemployment insurance claimant data that local Area 12 will use to measure local area performance against local performance accountability standards, to conduct outreach to unemployment insurance claimants who have nearly exhausted their claims, and to determine eligibility and conduct outreach for dislocated workers and reemployment services and eligibility assessment services. in Local 12, Area 12's effort to support the continuous improvement of the local workforce development system at no cost to Clermont County or Local Area 12, effective 10/1/2023 through 9/30/2026, in compliance with, where's my page? Hold on. We pulled it, we moved it, so I'm scrambling.
The terms and
The terms and conditions in the agreement.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 5 that was removed from the consent agenda, being handled as a non-consent item. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Been moved?
I'll second.
Been moved and second. Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
I will abstain as I serve on that board.
Okay.
So now we'll move to the first item on the non-consent agenda, which starts on page 4, which is item number 7. Jim, glad you're here this morning.
Way. I'm Jim Maloney, Administrator for the Clermont County Sheriff's Office. Recommendation to approve the request for funding and to execute the collective bargaining agreements pursuant to Section 4117.10 of the Ohio Revised Code in compliance with the specified terms and conditions. The Clermont County Deputy Sheriff's Association, DC number 24-0501-001. The bargaining unit is the deputy sheriff's, effective 1/1/2024 through 12/31/2026. Then we have the Clermont County Sheriff's Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Labor Council, DC number 24-0501-002. The corrections corporals and corrections sergeants, effective 4/14/2024 through 4/13/2027. Then we have the Clermont County Corrections Associations, DC number 24-0501-003. Corrections officers, their contract effective is 2/4/2024 through 2/3/2027. And finally, we have the Clermont County Deputy Association, DC number 24-0501-004. Therefore, the deputy corporals and sergeants, their contract effective 1/1/2024 through 12/31/2026.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 7. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Been moved and second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 8. Yvonne.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yvonne Smith, Benefit Plan Coordinator for Clermont County. I have a recommendation to execute a renewal of the Client Services Agreement between Clermont County and USI Services of Cincinnati, Ohio, for the provision of the professional broker and consulting services relative to Clermont County's employee benefits program. This was originally executed on April 28th of 2021 for an annual amount not to exceed $75,000. The effective period is June 1st, 2024 through May 31st of 2025, with an option to renew for 2 subsequent successive 12-month terms pursuant to the terms and conditions in the agreement and compliance with Section 307.86 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 8. Do I have a motion for approval?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Item number 9. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Commissioners are aware, the county has been involved in a longstanding litigation involving the opiate crisis and its effect in Clermont County. And as part of that longstanding litigation. The county has its own complaint listing various manufacturers, distributors, other players, and the price is pending. This recommendation is to approve a further amendment of the county's pending complaint, which was filed originally in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Ohio, Eastern Division. That was case number 217 CV 662. It's part of a corresponding Mass District litigation action in the Northern District of Ohio, Eastern Division, case number 117 MD 2804. The amendment is to add an additional party or two-party defendants as proposed by our litigation counsel, various pharmacy benefit managers, and to permit the prosecutor's office, of course, to communicate and discuss the authorization to amend with litigation counsel as necessary.
Board, you've heard the reading and recommendation, item number 9. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any further? Roll call.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran, Commissioner Painter.
Yes, thanks, Jessica. You bet. Item number 10, Chris Turner. Good to see you this morning. Jessica,
Morning, Chris.
morning.
Number 10 is a recommendation to execute amendment number 1 to the contract for professional services between the Board of County Commissioners of Clermont County, Ohio, and Garmin Miller and Associates at 38 South Lincoln Drive, Minster, Ohio, previously approved by the Board of County Commissioners on 12/6/21 for an additional architectural and engineering services for phase 1, 2, and 3 of the Filliger Campus Improvement Project, which represents an increase in the amount of $967,665.40, which is effective upon execution and includes an extension of time to September 1st, 2026 for additions, deletions, and/or modifications as described in the amendment in compliance with the terms and conditions and contingent upon the receipt of the required purchase order.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 10. Do I have a motion for approval?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Been moved and second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Item number 11, water resources.
Item 11 is a recommendation to accept the contract between Clermont County and D&M Painting Corporation out of Washington, Pennsylvania. This is for project number 6401-60176 for the Summit Elevated Tank Evaluation, Rehabilitation, and Coatings Application Project located in Batavia Township, as complete as of November 30th, 2023, and to approve the application for payment number 3, which is the final and represents the release of retainage in the principal amount of $35,745.60 plus all accrued interest.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 11. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Been moved and second. Any further conversation, question? Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Item number 12, Lyle.
Item 12 is a recommendation to adopt a revised table of organization for the Water Resources Department to remove one position of WRD Maintenance Technician, class number 49211, pay range per the collective bargaining agreement, and to add one position of WRD Electrician 3, class plan number 49255, pay range per the collective bargaining agreement, as outlined in the attached exhibit, effective upon approval and further to authorize the update of the appropriate internet links and appendices.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 12. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Been moved and second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor. Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Thanks, Lyle. Team, that concludes our non-consent agenda. We'll move to item H. Are there any additions to the agenda today, Tom?
No, sir.
With that, we'll go to item I. I'm requesting an executive session pursuant to section 121.22G1 of the Ohio Revised Code to consider the employment or discipline of one or more public employees. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Been moved and second. Any further? Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Batchelor. Commissioner Corcoran. Commissioner Painter.
Yes, we will move to executive session. We will return and conduct further business. Thank you.
for red.
We have returned from executive session. No decisions were made and no actions were taken. We will go back to item number H for additions to the agenda. Tom, is there any additions to the agenda?
We do have one point of clarification. There's item number 5 we want to clarify, so I'll let the clerk handle that.
Okay.
Item number 5, we had it on the consent agenda, and this is actually the data sharing and confidentiality agreement for local area 12. And in order to have the agreement completed, we have to authorize David Painter to sign it. So if we could put it back on and David can vote for it.
But no,
Or do you want-
it would be amending it to
We're amending it.
authorize the vice president of the board to sign the agreement.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Correct?
Okay.
Correct?
Or we can just amend it and you can go back and change your vote, right? We can bring it back on to the table
One to the other. I mean.
because he needs to be able to sign anyways.
Okay.
And he has to vote on it to sign. Am I right, Rebecca?
So
Yes.
what we'll do is, since he abstained, we'll bring it back up
Yes.
and we'll authorize the vice president of the board to execute the agreement instead
Okay.
of the president, since the president is abstaining. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the motion is a recommendation to amend the data sharing and confidentiality agreement between the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services and Local Area 12 to amend it to authorize the vice president of the board, Claire Corcoran, to execute the agreement, and everything else remains the same.
You've heard the request to add this, to add an amended version of item number 5 to the agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran? Commissioner Painter?
Yes, and so now we would actually entertain that actually agreement, and it'll be a recommendation to authorize Claire Corcoran, the Vice President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute that data sharing agreement confidentiality between the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services located at 30 East Broad Street, 32nd floor, Columbus, Ohio, and the representatives of the local area 12, including Clermont, Butler, Warren, boards of county commissioners or the chief elected officials for the provisions of wage record information and unemployment insurance data that local 12 will use to measure local area performance against local performance accountability standards and to conduct outreach to unemployment insurance claimants who have nearly exhausted their claims, and to determine eligibility and conduct outreach for dislocated workers and employment services and eligibility assessments services, and local area 12's effort to support continuous improvement of local workforce development system at no cost to Clermont County local area 12 effective 10/1/23 through 9/30/26 in compliance with the terms and conditions of the agreement. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Any further additions to the agenda?
No.
Okay. Then we will move on. We've already talked about county elected official discussions. Any other county elected officials that want to speak to the board today?
I have one item.
Okay.
And that would be a consideration on the 5/22 meeting, 5/22/24, to move that meeting to 1 o'clock instead of our normal session time of 10 o'clock. This would be to allow the commissioners to attend the
Willowville
Memorial Parade.
Absolutely. Do I have a motion to amend the time of the regular scheduled meeting on 5/22 from 10 a.m. in the morning to 1 p.m. in the afternoon?
Oh, one.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
That is one of the neatest
It is.
Little
It
things
is.
to watch those
It
children.
is. Item number K is member comments. Board members, commissioners, any comments about the meeting today? It was pretty informative when it comes to this 250 program, that's for sure. I thought they did an excellent job, explaining all the features that were associated with that. I would also say sorry that we didn't get to give a certificate of recognition to Attorney Debra Rothstein today. I understand she'll be back at a later date.
She will be. We're actually checking on those dates right now.
Good. Okay. So, and then Building Safety Month, that went well with Bruce Crace. We appreciate all the people who support our building inspection department and our permit central. So, any other comments? Not hearing any, then I'd move to item number L and ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting today.
Make the motion.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Anything further? Roll call, Gail?
Commissioner Corcoran. Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you for attending the meeting today on May the 13th, 2024, and we will see you next Wednesday. Correct? Is that right?
15.
This Wednesday. I'm sorry about that. The 15th. You bet.
Yes.
So we were just talking about moving the other meeting. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here today.